24 by 7 chatbot access program is designed to help you sort some emergency access and avails you the 24 by 7 support system with qualified counselors.
The chat box is open to our learners at all times. You can clear your doubts and queries by simply dropping a question here, and we will try our best to answer them as soon as possible and to the best of our ability.
Benefits of the 24 by 7 chatbot access for working professionals are: it makes your life easier, it makes you stress-free, it helps you to avail expert advice which will help you in life to go further. Benefits of 24 by 7 chatbot access program for university students are: it helps you minimize the exam stress, it helps in finding out the life goals. Benefits of the 24 by 7 chatbot access program for school students are: it helps to reduce stress during exams and it helps to access counseling sessions and different webinars at Mentor Mitra.
Question is what is actually emotional eating?
Renee, I'm going to let you start with.
Any one of you
Okay.
can.
All right. So emotional eating is eating for any reason other than hunger. You feel frustrated. You feel upset about something. You were disappointed, or you're just anxious. And putting something in your mouth makes you feel better. And that came actually from birth, because when a baby cries, we put something in their mouth, either the bottle or the breast or a pacifier. And unfortunately, at some point, we go from the pacifier to a donut or pizza or any other food that we think of as comforting. So that's basically what it is.
I agree. I think that it's really, when we work with people, we talk to them about their hunger cues and really understanding if they're even having hunger cues, because when we're eating the foods that we like to eat when we're emotional, there's sugar, fat, and salt. So a lot of times those hunger cues are not there because we are doing this behavior. But when we are emotionally eating, exactly what she said, the soothing, the comforting, we're escaping also from something. We want to change our state, and it's so easy to do. And we have a full spectrum of it too. It's not just people who are really doing it all the time. There are people who emotionally eat, just they're normal eaters, they're normal weight, and we all do it. It feels good. We get that little dopamine hit from whatever we eat, and it's very easy for everybody to feel it at some point. So there's really different spectrums. I also am dealing with 2 clients right now who are on the other end of emotional eating. They cannot eat because of all the things that are going on in their life and the stress. Emotional eating actually is on the other end of it also. So we have from binging all the way down to not eating at all.
About happiness in life. Consider that everything that we do about life and everything that we do in life is all about eventually being happy. Happiness is the ultimate goal of life. Levels of happiness could vary, but the higher the level of happiness, the best it works.
Favorite line that I always, love to talk about, and something that I love to use on myself is also that, there is nothing that can't be worked on, right? Everything in this world, almost everything, right? Almost everything is something that can be worked on, could be, developed, right? Could be improved. We as human beings have such amazing capabilities and capacity that once we identify a certain thing, we can definitely try to improve on the same.
If you're really, if it is paining you, probably it's not your strength area, it's a weak area, right? If maths pain you, probably maths is not your strength area. If you love talking with people, maybe communication is your strength area. So some of these things, you will know it yourself. Further, apart from that, do ask your friends. Please ask your friends, what do you think I'm really good at? And they will tell you, rattle down those 3-4 things that you're really good at. Ask your parents. And sometimes parents also tell, मेरा बेटा इसमें से बहुत अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा मैथ्स में अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा दोस्तों के साथ बहुत अच्छी तरह से रहता है. They keep telling these things oftenly without you noticing it. So whatever they repeatedly tell about you, good about you, is your strength area, right? So ask your teachers. Teachers observe you. They see your scores. They see your habits. They see your behaviors. Based on that, they will tell you what you're really good at. Second thing,
what are the changes that's happened? Things that are looking very different is work from home may continue to be a way of life, because organizations have realized, people have realized that nothing, there are lots of things that can be done as well from home, and possibly better. And those professions will perhaps continue to enjoy the benefit of working from home, if I might call that. Education and training have already gone digital, but there's a lot of scope of improvement. And with that, there would be a lot of training of the trainers that will come into play. We perhaps will not have to travel so much for work, because earlier we used to just take a flight for a 1-hour meeting to Chennai, or for some training session to attend in Dubai. And that's definitely
the way I look at analyzing work, or an analogy to work, is more to do with your mind, where you do your all logical things, your aspirations, everything is logical.
The message here is, we all have our starting points, we have our journeys, and we have our destinations. So today it might look like we're not headed anywhere, but in the end, it will all work out. So there's no need to be disheartened at all, and it is absolutely fine to be an average. The second part of the story goes where it comes about finding your own mojo. While I was an average student, I ensured just one thing. I kept my desire to learn and keep that fire inside of me ignited. Whether it was traveling, meeting new people, or even exploring new cultures, it was all about upskilling myself for me. Although while learning, I didn't really know where that was actually heading to. But then if I were to look back and think and connect the dots, I have the job that I have today only because of the skills and knowledge that I gained.
24/7 chatbot access program is designed to help you sort some emergency access and avails you the 24/7 support system with qualified counselors.
The chat box is open to our learners at all times. You can clear your doubts and queries by simply dropping a question here, and we will try our best to answer them as soon as possible and to the best of our ability.
Benefits of the 24/7 chatbot access for working professionals are: it makes your life easier, it makes you stress-free, it helps you to avail expert advice which will help you in life to go further. Benefits of 24/7 chatbot access program for university students are: it helps you minimize the exam stress, it helps in finding out the life goals. Benefits of the 24/7 chatbot access program for school students are: it helps to reduce stress during exams, and it helps to access counseling sessions and different webinars at Mentor Mitr.
question is what is actually emotional eating?
Renee, I'm going to let you start.
Any one of you
Okay.
can.
All right. So emotional eating is eating for any reason other than hunger. You feel frustrated. You feel upset about something. You were disappointed, or you're just anxious. And putting something in your mouth makes you feel better. And that came actually from birth, because when a baby cries, we put something in their mouth, either the bottle or the breast or a pacifier. And unfortunately, at some point, we go from the pacifier to a donut or pizza or any other food that we think of as comforting. So that's basically what it is.
I agree. I think that it's really, when we work with people, we talk to them about their hunger cues and really understanding if they're even having hunger cues, because when we're eating the foods that we like to eat when we're emotional, there's sugar, fat, and salt. So a lot of times those hunger cues are not there because we are doing this behavior. But when we are emotionally eating, exactly what she said, the soothing, the comforting, we're escaping also from something. We want to change our state, and it's so easy to do. And we have a full spectrum of it too. It's not just people who are really doing it all the time. There are people who emotionally eat just they're normal eaters, they're normal weight, and we all do it. It feels good. We get that little dopamine hit from whatever we eat, and it's very easy for everybody to feel it at some point. So there's really different spectrums. I also am dealing with 2 clients right now who are on the other end of emotional eating. They cannot eat because of all the things that are going on in their life and the stress. Emotional eating actually is on the other end of it also. So we have from binging all the way down to not eating at all.
About happiness in life. Consider that everything that we do about life and everything that we do in life is all about eventually being happy. Happiness is the ultimate goal of life. Levels of happiness could vary, but the higher the level of happiness, the best it works.
Favorite line that I always love to talk about, and something that I love to use on myself is also that there is nothing that can't be worked on, right? Everything in this world, almost everything, right? Almost everything is something that can be worked on, could be developed, right? Could be improved. We as human beings have such amazing capabilities and capacity that once we identify a certain thing, we can definitely try to improve on the same.
If you're really, if it is paining you, probably it's not your strength area, it's a weak area, right? If maths pain you, probably maths is not your strength area. If you love talking with people, maybe communication is your strength area. So some of these things, you will know it yourself. Further, apart from that, do ask your friends. Please ask your friends, what do you think I'm really good at? And they will tell you, rattle down those 3-4 things that you're really good at. Ask your parents. And sometimes parents also tell, मेरा बेटा इसमें से बहुत अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा मैथ्स में अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा दोस्तों के साथ बहुत अच्छी तरह से रहता है. They keep telling these things oftenly without you noticing it. So whatever they repeatedly tell about you, good about you, is your strength area, right? So ask your teachers. Teachers observe you. They see your scores, they see your habits, they see your behaviors. Based on that, they will tell you what you're really good at. Second
So
thing,
what
how
are
do
the
we
changes that's happened? Things that are looking very different is work from home may continue to be a way of life, because organizations have realized, people have realized that nothing, there are lots of things that can be done as well from home and possibly better. And those professions will perhaps continue to enjoy the benefit of working from home, if I might call that. Education and training have already gone digital, but there's a lot of scope of improvement. And with that, there would be a lot of training of the trainers that will come into play. We perhaps will not have to travel so much from work, because earlier we used to just take a flight for a 1 hour meeting to Chennai, or for some training session to attend in Dubai. And that's
The
definitely
way I look at analyzing work, or a analogy to work, is more to do with your mind, where you do your all logical things, your aspirations, everything is logical.
The message
And
here
life
is we all have our starting points, we have our journeys, and we have our destinations. So today it might look like we're not headed anywhere, but in the end, it will all work out. So there's no need to be disheartened at all, and it is absolutely fine to be an average. The second part of the story goes where it comes about finding your own.
It's rightly said by Steve Jobs. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your inner voice. On such a good note, let's start today's webinar, Life Lessons, Hearing Your Inner Voice Amidst the Chaos, 27 June Sunday at 7 p.m. according to the Indian Standard Time. Free webinar. It is a free webinar and e-certificate is included as well. The steps to avail e-certificate are pretty simple. A, attend the complete webinar. B, when you see thank you on the screen, a Google link will be sent across. Please mark your attendance and get the feedback questionnaire emailed. C, fill the questionnaire you get on mail for your details. D, follow our page. Whether you did or not is also there in the questionnaire. If you replied in affirmative and actually did not follow our page, you will not get the e-certificate. If all of these steps are done, automatically an e-certificate will be issued to you within 24 to 48 hours. Mentor Mitr. Mentor Mitr is a mentoring organization where individuals are taken in the journey from where they are and where they aspire to be. It's a mentoring organization with various programs which are customized and included according to one's personalized needs. We welcome our today's speaker, Ms. Archana Jaiswal. Archana Jaiswal is strengthened by the pillars of her consistency, perseverance, and resilience. She brings more than 2 decades of enriching experience in sales, coaching, and mentoring. She is also a member of the International Coaching Federation speaker. She chaired as the Toastmaster President for TupSpeak, a club that she founded at Tupperware. Archana works closely to understand the fears and mental blocks and facilitates a profound shift. Professional credentials, training and certification, associated certificate coach from Ericsson International, completion of module 3 and 4 for the professional certified coach pathway, certification of development tool Enneagram for personality profiling. Welcome, Ms. Archana. Ma'am, you're on mute. Archana, ma'am, you're on mute.
Okay. Hi, friends. A warm greeting from my side and lots of love to you before I begin. How many of you here have heard of the eagle story? Could I get a response on the chat box from all of you? And I'd love to know how many of you are present here. I would rather wait 30 seconds and get to have an idea. How many of you have heard it?
Not many.
Not many. Sure. Thanks so much. For the benefit of those who have not heard, let me share about the eagle. The eagle, as you know, is the queen of the sky. But the eagle on this 40th year has to make a very tough decision. The eagle has lost the sharpness of the wing and has very old wings to fly. She's no more the queen of the skies. And that's a time the eagle goes to the highest point of the rock and sits there. The eagle makes a toughest decision of her life. It works on sharpening his beaks. It slowly removes every feather of his body. For 7 months, the eagle is ready to fly. with all the new wings, and she is the queen of the skies. So, friends, the eagle listened to her inner voice. Are you open to listening to your inner voice? What is an inner voice? An inner voice is the voice of your heart. It's your feeling. It's your instinct. It's your intuition. It's something that you feel all over you and it envelops you. Way back in my hometown, I lived amongst a lot of chaos, a lot of fears. I was a shy introvert and a very scared child. I remember till the 12th standard, I never opened my mouth. Slowly, one day, and I always felt I was a misfit. I was like the square ball, square in the rough, somewhere who didn't fit in anywhere in the life. Very, very awkward and very, very uncomfortable with myself. That's the time I asked, where do I go from here? And I moved slowly to the capital. In the capital, I moved into the glamorous world of the hotel industry. I thoroughly loved every moment. The adulation, the compliments, from being a shy girl in the city where I was small city where I was laughed out for my height. I was called a giraffe and I used to cry. I became proud of the compliments I got. Perspectives changed for me. And then, as I was in the hotel industry, I asked myself, is this where I really want to be? I love talking to people. I loved interaction more than anything else. I also, by accident, realized I love sales. So there I left this cushy government job. I left the value of comfort to choose to be in a world which was quite uncomfortable for most people. There was all that chaos around me, and my parents said, are you mad? But I felt my path was unique, and this is where I belong. Being in as an entrepreneur gave me a lot of confidence, gave me a lot of applause and recognition. What was my motive there? What is it that inspired me? Some small things can inspire people. And what inspired me was this continuous call from my landlord. You know, how many of you have gone through this fear? When you stay on rent and your landlord calls and says you have to vacate after every 11 months. And that's the time I decided I'll buy my own flat. So that was my goal. And the goal I did achieve. I set up a discipline for myself to work 12 hours, 6.5 days. And sure enough, I found got my flat. Choosing that calling gave my core a lot of confidence. But somehow, something happened there. I had this thing of confronting people to what I felt was right. Confronting was part of me which I did not realize. So one day, in spite of having a very large team, in spite of doing 2/3 of the area of this North India sale, I was asked to leave. And that was a shock for me. I decided to move on. Much later, I will share what opened up for me there. And that's the time I thought, what can I do about it? And I thought of ways that I could act to move on. I set a deadline that within 40 days, I will get a job. And having the job was like a mental magnet for me. I thought all the ways I could create the possibility. And I just focused all my energy on that. 40 days, setting the deadline was creating that mental magnet for me. And sure enough, what opened up for me was the new opportunity of being in the corporate world the tougher way. I got a chance to train a lot of people, and I thought this is amazing. Coming from a small place, I had moved to a bigger platform. This was great fun, great joy, and sure enough, I enjoyed the journey. But somewhere in 2018, there was the inner voice. And this inner voice asked me, Archana, is this what you want to do? Just continue to train. And sometimes when you speak to yourself and hear to the voice, everything around you manifests. I remember in the year 2019, I was sitting across a very, very successful coach. As I was sitting in front of him, I asked him this question. What is it that I should do? How is it that I can move ahead? For me, a coach was a person who's like a fairy, somebody whom I can admire. And there was this one line he said. I said, can I be a coach like you? And he answered, you can be better than me. That one answer changed my life. I remember that, and there I was searching, what is it that I can do? I didn't really need to do it. It matched so well to my spirit that this is really what I wanted.
Ma'am?
Times. Yeah.
We're having a lot of background chaos. If something could be done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just 1 second. I'll maybe close the air conditioner. Maybe that can help.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So I have closed that off. Yeah. So is that good enough?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for telling me. Sure. So coming back to my journey. So and the coach told me, you can be better than me. That one line was the line which resonated with me. And there I set myself to go ahead in my life. Sometimes when you're very pulled down in life, being among very positive people can be a big thing. So the positive energy attracts so much more when you are lost. And this is what helped me a lot. Have you ever seen, sometimes also there's another aspect to it besides being among positive people. We are not able to see on our own the treasure that we are seeking. The treasure could be right in front of you. To be a coach was something which was there for me, right in front of me. I had people around. I had just never thought about this. So if you ever look at a dog, what do you think? The dog is a very curious animal. The dog is not afraid. The dog is very, very brave. And the dog knows whatever he wants, he searches it and he's able to find it. So there I was. I moved on towards my journey to be a certified coach. So many people had helped me, supported me, uplifted me in my tough times. And I decided, I love to share this. And this is the best place where I fit in. I could not feel what else could be so better for me? It was running in my every cell in my life. I'll bring you back to the story. What was happened to me when I lost my job? Can we go back to the previous slide? I was always a person who used to confront people, and I did not realize that confronting was part of me. I did not know any other way to live my life. So one day when I sat with my coach and I was sharing about this, how I lost my job, how I lost my promotions, and that's a time a third way opened up. So next time when I faced with the situation, there was a different approach I had, a different perspective. I just paused. That paused helped me. I sought support from people around the person who was confronting. The third thing that I did was have a conversation when I was very calm, in an adult-like manner, not like a victim, with no baggage of what I had in the past. I broke a pattern of mine which I was carrying from 15 years. That's why we say, if you could have done it, you would have done it by now. There's a world of abundance for you, but how do you unbox yourself? Do we really know that? And we can move to the next slide. So coaching did all this for me. So the beautiful journey of coaching is being accountable for yourself. Sometimes you don't realize it when you are in a blame game. It's about unboxing. A coach can help you see the bright side of things. It's different from being a coach, and a mentor can always help you move your journey forward. Unlike counseling, unlike consultancy, where you often go back to the past. It's like, for example, if we ask you, when you're unwell, you go to a doctor. But does not in your everyday life, mentally you have so much within you. Who will you go to? Why not? Why not step up and have a conversation? Coaching is all about having a positive conversations, whether it's your suppressed anger, which can lead you to maybe an ulcer, or whether it's working on your competencies, whether it's your team delegation. A coach is like a friend, but an unbiased friend, to walk along with you in your journey. Somebody whom you can turn to for support. It's a voice there. It's a voice which shows you the larger picture of what you cannot see. I was helped by a coach, and it opened a new realm for me of happiness and joy. And I would love that you could also see that for yourself, this new world of happiness and joy. And can we move to the next slide, please? So it's all about creating an impact. It's all positive, and it's all a journey forward towards creating a difference. And sometimes a small difference is like a ripple in the pond. A ripple in the pond can help you move ahead to a very, very big path. You know, this reminds me of a story of, you can see this picture of the well here. The well, as you see, is very, very deep.
Videos, bell icon.
Yeah, did somebody say anything? Can anybody guess? So what could be the depth of the well? So the well has
No clue, ma'am.
How much?
No clue, ma'am. Not even a rough guess.
So it's about 100 feet deep is the well. The length and the breadth is about 10 by 10 feet. Do you think, and there are two friends who are standing on the side of the well. As they stand on the side of the well, one friend asks the other, Do you think if I give you 5 lakh rupees, will you jump the well? What do you think the answer could be?
No.
Will they jump the well or not jump the well? 5 lakh rupees is the question.
Ma'am, life overpowers, I guess.
Right. So it's some people will say we'll jump the well. Some people will say we will not be able to jump the well. Some people will say we'll try jumping the well. And for some people, a coach can be a bridge for you to tell you that you can jump the well. It could be anything of that sort. And it really does not matter. Because today, when you've come to this platform, it's possible for you, when you are in the platform of Mentor Mitr, that you can cross your inner hurdles. It could be a physical well, or it could be a mental well. Either way, a coach can support you to cross the well. You know, before I close, sometimes you can find your inner voice, but I like to share something more before I close. How many of you have heard the story of Einstein? What happened to him in school? Einstein, when he was in school, one day when he came back from school, he handed his mother a note. On the note was written something that may change his life forever. His mother told him, Einstein, your teacher has sent you a note. And on the note is written, you are so brilliant. You don't need to go to school tomorrow. I will start doing homeschooling. And Einstein no more goes to school. One day, when Einstein's mother dies, he's rumbling through the boxes, and in the attic, he finds this note. On the note is written something beautiful. It's written, your child, something beautiful, something moving, something which shakes Einstein. It's written, your child is a college dropout. And your child is a college dropout. Please don't send him home tomorrow. For Einstein, that note was, you are brilliant. It was beautiful for him till then, but when he reads it, it's a shock for him. But till Einstein didn't find the discovery, his mother's voice was the voice of motivation for him. It helped him to move ahead. Sometimes you find your own voice. Sometimes somebody else supports you to find your voice. And as I say, when you are in this platform of Mentor Mitr, you've already taken your first step to find your voice. And if you cannot find your voice, you can reach out to me. My number is 9811112061. Happy to support you. All the very best.
Thank you so much, Ashna ma'am. We would like to and love to take the questions at the end of audience, which you could enlighten us. Now we move on ahead. Mentor Mitra courses. There are a few courses which are offered by Mentor Mitra. A, Program for Working Professional. It is a Compass Pro course of 1 month. And then there is Habit Forming Pro course for 3 months. B, Program for School Students. That is Ensure Optimizer course for 12 months. Habit Forming course for 3 months. And Compass course for 1 month. C, Program for University Students, which entails Habit Formation course for the duration of 3 months and Compass Pro course for 1 month. Programs for working professionals, Compass Pro course, which entails 1 month of engagement, which helps you set right direction and course and correct your ongoing journey. There is counseling session included, SWOT analysis, personality assessment, analytical report based on the above tests. C. Structured customized counseling one-to-one with 1 hour with the experts, customized template for your career roadmap, time tracker, which is a very special feature that helps you track your time and know where and exactly what your disturbances are and which can be eliminated. Set up a self-awareness program, flexible counseling sessions with mentors for total 2 hour time in a whole month. More features like free access to webinar during that month, and there is 24/7 chatbot facility where all your queries can be resolved. There is program for university students, Compass course for direction setting, which entails 1 month of engagement. There is counseling session, psychometric assessment, competitive ability mapping, structured customized counseling one-to-one, 1 hour with the experts, time tracker, tracks and option template, which is again a very special template which enhances your reach and helps you understand what career track can be done with the same amount of preparation. Flexible counseling session with mentor for total 2 hour time in a month. 24/7 chatbot access, more features like 1 month free webinars, and much more. There is program for school students, Compass course for direction setting, which entails 1 month of engagement. There is counseling session followed by psychometric assessment, competitive ability as well as environment mapping, structured customized counseling one-to-one, 1 hour with the experts, tracks and option template, time tracker, flexible counseling session with mentor for total 2 hour time in a month, which can be according to your need and priorities. Free webinar access for 3 months, continuous support. There is 24/7 chatbot facility which will help you clear all your doubts and queries as well. Now we introduce our Mentor Mitr apps link, which is there. There is About Us and Register. You can download our self-help app on the Play Store. The QR code is right here. Quickly scan it and get our app. And there is link also available if you would like to avail the benefits of this app. Presenting you our app Mentor Mitr. The app is available on Play Store. You can download the app only on Android. The download is free of cost, but the programs here are paid. App is available in India, Philippines, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Italy, Malaysia, Nepal, Russia, Spain, Thailand, and so on. It will be launched in other countries as soon as possible. Kindly download the app and get the career help. Any queries, you're free to connect us at contact@mentormitra.com or connect@mentormitra.com. Presenting you our next speaker, Mr. Avtar Leela. Avtar is a thought-provoking communicator, unconventional thinker, and life strategist as well. A graduate in electrical engineering from NIT, Avtar completed his master's at the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He formerly worked in research and development with MNCs like Honeywell and so on, and within a short span was awarded the Youngest Innovator Award at Honeywell. He also appeared for the Indian Engineering Service exam conducted by UPSC, securing Air 4. He shifted to settings of a monastery to learn ancient philosophical texts, leaving his corporate career. He has given several motivational talks at various prestigious platforms, including the TEDx. He finds pleasure in conversing with a wide spectrum of society, from CXOs at the top of their game to ambitious students. We welcome you, sir. Please enlighten us.
Thank you, Krusha. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this conversation. You can keep this screen sharing off for me. I'm just going to speak. So thank you, everyone who has joined us today for this conversation. Thank you, Archanaji, for enlightening us with your wonderful story, with your wonderful experience. And I was just reading the comments that actually was floating through on the YouTube panel, and it was so profound that everyone was so engaging in the whole conversation. Once upon a time, a farmer who was owning a big barn, he lost his wristwatch, those traditional wristwatches with that tick-tick sound. and he wasn't able to find it. It was so difficult to find a wristwatch in this huge haystack. So he kind of called upon his, his little children in the village, and he said, "Could you some of you help me find it out?" And all the children tried their best, but they couldn't. And one child actually walked up to the farmer after the farmer had almost given up. He came up to him and said, "Do you want me to try?" And the farmer was like, "Please go ahead and try. And if you can actually be successful, I'll be so happy." So he went in, and within 5 minutes, he brought the watch back to the farmer. The farmer was intrigued. He said, "My dear son, how did you do it? Please tell me, what did you do?" And he said, "All I did was I went inside, stayed silent, and just kept my ear to the ground. And once I kept my ear to the ground, I could very peacefully and clearly hear the tick-tick sound of the watch. And bam, I was able to find where it was." Many times, and I was seeing all these comments that were actually coming, how do we know whether what we are feeling is actually the inner voice? Is it beneficial for me or not? And with respect to one success stories, how many kind of failures we actually come across and face. And I'll try to address some of these points as well. Now, this whole concept of inner voice is something very profound and very deep. Once upon a time, a spiritual teacher was teaching his student, and the student was a little bored with the same lesson being repeated over and over a period of time. So he told his teacher that, "Please, can you teach me something new, something, novel?" And the teacher said, "Okay, I will, but till tomorrow, till the time you come back tomorrow for the lesson, I just want you to do this one last thing for me." And he said, "Yeah, please tell me, what am I supposed to do?" He said, "Till the time you come back," and please say a yes in the chat box if you're watching us on YouTube. I'm sure none of us you are there with us on Zoom here. Zoom is just organizing committee, but all of you are on YouTube. So please say a yes or no in the chat box, or your answer to the question that I'm going to ask now. This teacher asked this student, "Till the time you come back tomorrow, don't think of the red-faced monkey." Now, those of you who are present here, Riddhi, Krisha, you can answer here. What are you thinking right now? The teacher asked the student, till the time you come back here to meet me, don't think of the red-faced monkey.
I'm thinking about the red-faced monkey.
Thank you, Krisha. What about you, Vriddhi?
I feel in fact.
Exactly. And this boy was going berserk. He went to his home. He tried everything possible, and he just couldn't get rid of this red-faced monkey off his head. After 24 hours, the boy actually came back. Thank you so very much. I'm loving these wonderful, suggestions which is coming on YouTube as well. Right. Next day he came back, and the teacher asked him, "Okay, how was your experience?" And the student was like flabbergasted. I said, I just couldn't stop thinking of the red-faced monkey." And the teacher then looked at him compassionately, and he said, "Okay, no problem. Now sit down here, and for next 20 minutes, just think of the red-faced monkey." And guess what? The student was not able to do that as well. Now all other kind of thoughts started coming in his head. And this teacher told him after that whole experience to this student, he said, first important lesson in terms of your self-growth and building yourself is understand that everything inside of you is not necessarily with you. I'll repeat this. Everything inside of you is not necessarily with you. It's like you go to your home, you knock on your door, and your mom responds because mom is inside. God forbid someday someone's home is sabotaged and there are some unholy elements inside, and if he knocks on the door, the kind of response you would got will not be very friendly because the place is occupied. So the moment we actually start trusting our inner voice is this time when we also actually have worked on our inner selves to make sure that this inner voice is building us up and not destroying us. Otherwise, everyone who gets into all kind of things which self-destructs them, whether it is addiction, whether it is this or whether it is that, they always will tell you, "I just felt like doing it." So how do we actually make sure that our inner voice is not like destroying us, but rather building us up is a very, very significant question as you move forward in your life. I'll talk about 4 things that actually camouflages your sense of inner voice and 4 things that you could be doing to actually enhance it and amplify it. The 4th thing that actually camouflages our inner voice, I would have spoken about it in detail, but I'm sure if you can Google it later on, go on YouTube and look at what is called as ventriloquism. Ventriloquism is when you have somebody speaking and their mouth doesn't move and the sound seems to come from somewhere else. Just go and Google it on YouTube and somewhere, and you will know what I'm talking about, ventriloquism. But that's what sometimes happens in our heads. What we think is our voice is actually not our voice, but it is something else that's actually prompting us to do certain things. So the first thing that kind of obscures your deep inner voice is your mind, which is internally present with you. Your mind tends to magnify your problems. How many times? How many times have you kind of? Oh, Krisha is asking me to spell it out for the audience. Ventriloquism is VENTRI, ventrilo LOQUISM. Ventriloquism. Google will help you. Don't worry. Just write ventro and you will have the word filled up for you. Uh, but what happens is the mind, what it does, it magnifies your problem. It puts the magnifying glass on the little thing and starts making it appear very big. Whether it was a job interview, whether it was an assignment completion, whether it was an admission in a college, whether it was some academics or assignment or this or that or relationship, wherever, whatever you want to talk about, mind has this amazing capacity to magnify the problem. How does it do it? What does the mind does to you is it will think of the past regrets and will wonder about the future worries and bring both these past regrets and the future worries in the present moment and overwhelm you, right? Something didn't work well last year and you're still thinking about it, and then you're worrying about the future that's going to happen, whether I'll get a job or not, or this or that. You just keep building on all the possible things that could possibly go wrong in the worst possible scenario, and you bring all of that stuff in your present and you just get overwhelmed. It's called paralysis by analysis also, right? So we actually magnify our problems. When we tend to start magnifying our problem, we get more fixated on the problem than on our own inner conscience, right? The second thing that the mind does with us is it imagines pleasure. It tends to take you to those, kind of, I'm sure that all of us in our college days or in our school days have done daydreaming. Teacher is teaching something and you're out the screen, out of the window, thinking about all kind of novel things, whether Bollywood, Hollywood, or no matter what, right? We tend to actually imagine pleasure. And what does it do to us? We always imagine pleasure in the future. Most of the time, this is very startling, but 47% of the time, your mind is not thinking of the task at hand. Your mind is not present in the moment. 47% of the time, your mind is dealing with the non-present. We start imagining problems. We start imagining pleasure. We start magnifying problems. And what does it do? It makes you disconnected with your inner self. It makes you disconnected with your present. It makes you less and less self-aware. It imagines pleasure. The third thing that the mind does is it neglects opportunities. When you are too much concerned about the past, you're regretting about the past or worrying about the future, you start neglecting your present. A student may not have fared well in their mid-sem exams, continues to think about how I fared so poor, get worried about the final semester exams that's coming up, and the whole process messes up that 1 hour when he was actually supposed to be studying and performing his academics. Neglects opportunities, neglects time, wastes time, and all those things, right? Like Krisha was explaining about, time management and, time tracker. These are such consciously built tools that actually help you get grips with your mind and say, hey, we are getting startled, we are going off beat. It neglects opportunities. The fourth thing that the mind does is it denies responsibility. If something goes wrong, and it happens so many times, people have this different locus of control, we call it in psychology. We have the internal locus of control and external locus of control. There are some of you out there who think that everything is you are responsible for. The inner conversation, the inner events, the kind of hard work you bring on the table is what is responsible for what you do and what you achieve in your life. And there are some people who understand that it is external in nature, or external factors is what is responsible for my success or failure. So many times what happens is we carry both these kind of locus of controls. So when we are successful, we don't miss a beat and we give ourselves all the credit. Oh, it was because of my hard work. It because of my knack. It was because of this. It was because of that. I cracked it. And whenever things don't go our way, we say, oh, exam was hard. The teacher was not good. The curriculum was difficult. The preparation time was not sufficient, blah, 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 blah. We try to hold someone else responsible for what we're going through. But please remember, my dear friends, No matter where we are in life, unless we take responsibility of where we are, we cannot improve our situations. You cannot solve a problem whose existence you deny. That's very, very crucial. We need to take responsibility of where I am, but be like reassuring to yourself that I don't have to be where I am. Sometimes people get so overwhelmed with failures, right? People get overwhelmed with failures. Oh my God, everything has dropped down, everything has crashed to the ground. Now nothing is, possible in the way I've always wanted, envisioned my life. But believe me, failures only show you where you are and not where you have to be. Please, Roger that. Failures just show you where you are and not where you have to be. It's a journey that we actually keep moving on, and failures remain a failure unless we actually learn something from it and don't repeat it. As somebody said, it's not a problem to commit a mistake every time, but make sure it's a new one every time. That means we're actually growing, we're actually developing, we're actually refining ourselves. So we tend to deny responsibility. So we magnify problems, we imagine pleasure, we neglect opportunity, and we deny responsibility. MIND, acronym is mind. Magnifies problems, imagine pleasure, neglects opportunity, denies responsibility. And when this happens to you, please understand what comes from your inner self may not be your true inner voice. Be very, very careful. It might be just another trap being thrown by your mind, which is not to say that you don't have an inner voice. It's like this famous biblical fable about a grandfather asking his grandson about, my dear son, if there's a good dog and a bad dog, which one would bark louder? And this little boy was not able to answer. And then the grandfather replied that the one you feed. We all have this good dog and a bad dog internally of us, inside all of us. The one that will go stronger is the one you actually feed. And that's how it's a case and technique. It's actually feeds on itself. Every time you listen to your inner voice, it becomes more and more refined and louder. But we have all these, kind of a bad dog growling so hard in our heads all the time. It's about insecurity, jealousy, hatred, envy, sensuality, procrastination, all these kind of things that come in our head is that bad dog which is growling. And then there's good dog of integrity, hard work, persistence, perseverance, honesty. But it has become so feeble because of not being fed over a period of time that it hardly even mumbles anything. So when you talk about inner voice, we have to begin our journey by first feeding this good dog so that we ensure that what we are hearing internally is actually building us up and not destroying us in the process. The four things that can actually help you feed your this good dog, amazingly, is again four things. First is just like you go to a gym for exercise, you go to a food nutritionist for your diet plan, you go to a doctor when you get injured. When you have to develop your mind, what actually works is the process of mindfulness or meditation. Please understand, mind works in close proximity with the kind of sounds you actually expose yourself to, right? Those of you who had a bad day or you had a breakup with your loved one, with your girlfriend or boyfriend, on that particular day, all kind of sad songs make so much sense and you are so attracted and drowning in your own pool of tears. Sound actually creates that kind of emotions. But you are prepping up, you are listening to Tony Robbins, or you're listening to somebody really energizing, or you're listening to Brian Adam, It's My Life, or you're listening to Wickfield and Saturday Night, and you're listening to Cotton Eye Joe, and this kind of preps you up. It actually, the sound drives your adrenaline and actually puts your mind in a certain kind of perspective. So when we talk about mindfulness, when we talk about meditation practices, what it actually helps the mind deal with is to deal with sound very attentively. So much so that the mind starts developing its own strength. It develops the capacity to say no to the bad dog and to say yes to the good dog. That's what meditation does to us. Those of you who are interested to understand more about what meditation actually works, I strongly recommend go and read this book called Altered Traits by Daniel Goleman. He actually speaks very scientifically about what meditation does to us and how it is scientifically so profound, right? That is mindfulness, that actually living mindfully, eating mindfully, interacting, communicating, planning, doing things in a meditative kind of experience. That's called the state of flow. When we get into that kind of a space, it's like a smooth thing that's happening with your mind. Your inner voice start becoming more and more enhanced. You are actually feeding the good dog. you're making it stronger, you're making it actually better, right? The second thing that actually helps your mind becomes stronger, your inner voice becomes stronger, is introspection. Asking yourself this question, what do I really stand for? So many times people actually talk about, I want to stand out, I want to be impressive, I want to be making a mark in this world, I want to lead a purpose. But before you do all of that stuff, before you actually stand out, you should be clear about what you stand for. And that's where self-awareness comes into picture. When we introspect, when we are clear about what we're actually heading for, when we're actually clear about what's our destination, what do I stand for, who am I, what is my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my likes, what are my dislikes, what do I like, what am I good at, all of that stuff, when we introspect about a goal, about a journey, about a purpose, that's where the good dog starts becoming stronger. Ask yourself this question, where do you want to see yourself 10 years down the line? And don't ask yourself this question, what do you want to become? But ask yourself this question, what do you want to be? Driven by values, driven by your sense of deep introspection. That thing actually makes your heart, it makes your mind extremely strong and enables you to listen to your inner voice. The third thing that actually helps you is nurture your nature. All of us come with different kind of nature. Some of us could be good architects. Some of us could be good cooks. Some of us could be good entrepreneurs. Some of us could be good mediators. Some of us could be good sports persons. Some of us musicians and poets and singers and so many things. It's just like when you go to a shoe shop, what you look for is a shoe that fits your feet. So when I'm talking about nurturing your nature, when you are actually suitably fitting into the kind of things that you love doing, you're good at, which are naturally adaptable for you, you would actually see a sense of inner self-worth coming your way, and your inner voice becomes stronger, clearer, and more persuasive. But if you're leading a life where you don't fit the bill, it's almost like wearing an uncomfortable shoe. Your journey will never be as exhilarating as it could be. And you will never think of the journey. You will always keep thinking of the foot and the inconvenience you might be experiencing because of the shoe that you are in. People land up in wrong jobs. People land up in wrong, college streams and curriculums and career paths and all that stuff. That's because we probably haven't spent time understanding and nurturing our nature. Who am I? What exactly is my nature? And there are umpteen number of tools that is available in the world outside to actually try, whether you want to try MBTI, whether you want to try Enneagram, whether you want to try DISC personality, whatever you want to try, nurture your nature, understand who you are. Likes, dislikes, strengths and weaknesses. What do you really want to do? If there are no responsibilities, roles and heavied on my shoulders, what is it that I would do in order to become happy in my life? That's my nature, basically. That's what actually talks about what my nature is. And the fourth thing is direction. Have a sense of goal in your life, have a sense of purpose in your life, have a sense of more expansive goal, which is not just converging in you, but it expands out of you and actually helps you, enables you to actually connect with the world outside. That's direction, right? As it is said, Tony Robbins once said this statement, that a goal without a plan is simply a wish. So when we have a sense of direction, it is accompanied with a plan that actually achieves the direction, achieves that purpose, achieves that goal. Most of the time, our mind is disturbed because of want of an ultimate goal. We just don't know what we are heading for, and therefore we oftentimes remain confused, frustrated, exasperated, and overwhelmed. But if we know where are we heading, what's my direction, what's my purpose, what's my goal, your mind starts to become stronger, and your inner voice starts becoming more and more clearer, audible, stronger, and driven by a sense of purpose. So again, the fourth thing that you can actually do in order to enhance your inner voice is meditate, introspect, nurture your nature, and have a sense of direction. MIND, again, the acronym is mind. So four things that actually kind of droops down your sense of inner voice, and four things that help you develop your inner voice. Once you have done this for a significant amount of time, or at least begin to do it, then you can be confident that yes, my inner voice is actually directing me in the right direction. And once you have that, have somebody who is a trustworthy person in your life, somebody who is more knowledgeable than you, somebody who is more experienced than you, somebody who is have a kind of benevolence towards you, and sound of your ideas with them. Hey, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think about this particular idea and have an open negotiation, have an open conversation with them to actually just get an idea of what I'm thinking is the right thing for me to do, right? So when we do these aspects in our life, we learn to lead our life with an inner voice. And as if we don't, then every small disturbance externally will actually disturb us, distract us from this inner voice, which we continuously need to actually tune in, need to actually connect with. Just like that little boy, he placed his ear to the ground, remained silent, and he knew where exactly the watch was. Sometimes in your life, when you're too confused, not knowing which direction to take, observe silence, introspect, develop your inner self, and you would know the light would dawn and you would know which direction to actually move. And please remember, my dear friends, negativity can't impact you unless you let the negativity come inside of you. Just like a ship sailing on the ocean cannot sink, it is the water which helps the ship sail through. But if that water gets in, the ship would sink. Similarly, all the negativity around you, all the chaos, all the uncertainty that the pandemic has brought, all the kind of confusion that has brought, it can either propel you in the right direction or it can actually make you just plummet if you let this enter you and drown your own inner voice. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mentor Mitra, for bringing me once again on this platform to interact with your lovely audience. I really love interacting with all of you. Thank you, Vriddhi. Thank you, Prisha. And thank you, the team behind Mentor Mitra. Thank you all very much. Wonderful. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, both of us. If you guys permit, can we go ahead with the audience question now?
Oh, sure. Please go ahead.
Sure. So basically, the audience questions are, the first question is, there are at certain times already people have been blaming us for the decisions we've made because it didn't turn right. So now there is no capacity to follow the passion and just rather follow what people think is right for us. What should we do in such a situation? So if you can go first.
Krisha, who is supposed to answer?
So you can go first.
Oh, okay. It's not like bad or good decisions, it's like consequences. And now what happens is a lot of time this is somehow built in our system that we beat people for wrong decision far more than applauding them for the right one. But once upon a time a CEO was asked, what is the secret of your success? And he said, good decisions. And the reporter asked him, okay, how do you make good decisions? He said, by making bad ones. And that's how you actually learn. What we need to understand is, if we have made bad decisions in our life, have we learned something from it? Could we do something different moving forward in trying to make the right decisions, right? Because if you stop making decisions at all, that is also a decision you're making whose repercussions can actually be very long standing. So yes, when people come and tell you, hey, you made a wrong decision there, own it up, take the responsibility. Yes, I take the responsibility, the consequence of the decision, and I'm feeling more confident. I need to go and gather more information, talk to people who have more wisdom, talk to people who have more experience, and learn how to make good decisions. And I'm going to not stop making decisions, but learn how to make a good one. Because deciding to not make a decision is also a wrong decision. And you can't let the anchor of your life go in someone's hands who doesn't know you so very well. Yes, we should listen to the advice of our parents or their sincere suggestions or their experience that come forward. All that is done. But you should not stop making decision, stop voicing your concern, bring it up on the table, have a rational discussion, and then come to a solid understanding of what would be the way forward for you in each and every situation. I hope that helps, Krisha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Next question for you, ma'am.
Yeah.
How would you know if your inner voice is guiding you to become the best version of yourself or otherwise?
So thank you for asking. And so your inner voice, as I would say, is something which comes from your heart. It is not something it is something beyond your mind. It suddenly comes like a wave, and it's like a voice of intuition. So I'm going to give you an example, and this is a true example. And this is a couple in South, and the husband was about to take the flight, and the wife said, "Don't go." She literally stopped him from not boarding the flight. And that was the time. And he could take the flight. The next day came to know that the aircraft had crashed. It is beyond your logic, it's beyond the thinking, it's not that, it will not come from your logical frame at all. So it's like for me, when I wanted to be a coach, every cell of me felt it. And I cannot see anything negative in it. Within me, I get power. When I think of it, this is my inner voice. It gives me power. It gives me positive energy. It gives me happiness. It gives you peace. So if it takes care of the elements of your body, of your heart, of your soul, and the combination of all the three, that is your inner voice. Somehow we are tuned to hearing our inner voice, but sometimes we stop hearing it. But tune yourself to your inner voice, and soon it will just come to you like a wave of wind. So I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, a question for you now. How important mentoring is and why qualified mentoring is important?
How important mentoring is and how qualified, it's like you go to NBA, National Basketball Association, you go to Michael Jordan, and even he would have a coach. Although he's a great player, although he's a great basketball player, but still he would also have a coach to actually coach him on this way. There are, as Archana ji was giving example of the well, it's very easy for us to measure the length and breadth of who we are, but sometimes the depth remains unexplored. So people who have walked the journey by which can actually enable you to solve your problems on your own, and that's what the purpose of coaches are, right? Personally, when I coach people, my perspective is that I want to enable you to solve your own problems, not that you become dependent on me for solving all your issues, but I'll help you think better through your own life situations so that you become enabled to solve your life situations instead of depending upon me for everything small and big. So when we actually are walking, you talk about anyone who became big in life, they always would have someone to actually kind of soundboard themselves, to learn from them, to role model, to be mentored by, to be coached by. And this is very important. When people are in this domain, you should also be very clear and distinguish between what's coaching, what's counseling, what's mentoring, and what's consulting. All these things are actually different. Although many times people actually get confused by these lingos, and everybody thinks counselor is a coach, also coach is a mentor, also mentor is a consultant, also. But everything is different. If you're actually about being handheld for something in a domain expert, go and check a domain expert and will help you. That's like mentoring. But if you're talking about coaching, how do I think better in practically every domain of my life? Okay, go ahead. Talk to a coach. Talk to someone who has led his life being very introspective, understanding his own trajectory, understanding their own inner voice, understanding their own inner self-awareness. To the degree somebody is self-aware, they can bring self-awareness to you as well, because you can't give someone something that you don't have personally possessing. So mentoring is extremely crucial because it will help you understand your own depths, your own understanding. Sometimes we become very blinded to our own strengths and weaknesses, positive and negative both. So mentoring, coaching actually helps you in that space become the best version of yourself.
Hi, can I add also something?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing. So what I would say, what mentoring does, it gives you three-dimensional view at times when you are, especially when you are like in a spiral and you're all inside it and you cannot see the bigger picture. And a mentor will just open up like the door and show you all the picture. And also what mentoring does, it's a way forward journey. It's also what rightly said, you can be from good to brilliant. And everybody needs mentoring at any given stage of life. A very important thing, be open to mentoring. Sometimes we operate in the space of we know it all, and that can be your biggest hurdle. In your path, you may also experience failure, but sometimes when you're absolutely down in the well, a mentor can just pull you up. Also, what happens, the mentor is also not a person who's totally like perfect. A mentor is always a work in progress. And sometimes we feel a mentor is somebody who's very far away. A mentor can be somebody, a school teacher for me, somebody who's just somebody staying in my own hometown. And mentors also would change as you change. because you will attract different kinds of people. So definitely have one if you ever feel the need to have one. I hope I answered.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So the next, Saran ma'am, the next question, it says basically, how can our inner voice or listening to our inner voice be helped from external help?
Can you explain the question once again, please?
Yes, it means how can our inner voice be enhanced when we take some external help? So like if our inner, we know like we have an inner voice, but we need external help to maybe, scratch it or know it. So how to do it?
So can I answer?
Yes, ma'am.
So how do we know our inner voice? Thank you for asking and a very, very valid question. Because when you can start when you look back in your life, there's something you had done suddenly, instinctively, and it worked so right for you. So somewhere out of fears, we get stopped from listening to the inner voice. But you can tune yourself to your inner voice. Now, can you just repeat the question once again? Sorry, maybe I can throw a better light.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
In turn, how to enhance your inner voice using
Enhance. So I would say the one way to enhance your inner voice is an inner journey that you can seek for yourself. So if you, meditation is one such way to create your inner awareness. And as you become more aware, you become more alert. It could be any activity where you are totally is meditation. Sometimes you can set aside an hour. I do set aside an hour because there's a moment when you are very still in life, and sometimes in that stillness in your life, you get life answers. That it can be that moment when you're lying in your bed and suddenly it arises in you. You cannot create it. It's a phenomena which happens. But the awareness and efforts to create your awareness can lead you to hear your inner voice. It can also lead you as you go on your inner journey that things will open up faster to you. What comes as a hurdle is our own fears we create. And if you can break from the fears, even by way of conversation, I have broken up many fears simply by conversations of what I've not been seen. You will be getting a vast reservoir of energy to hear your inner voice. So the step is, of course, one way is how do we aware? Pick up any activity which is total. It could be dancing also. It could be simply taking a walk, or it could be putting 1 hour aside of your life to any meditation. And this voice plethora of it would start opening up slowly. It cannot be like magic, but it can happen suddenly, and you will notice you will be able to hear your inner voice faster and faster as the fear goes away and you become more peaceful and calm. Purely, I'm talking with what my experiences and what I have heard. I hope it has helped you.
Thank you so much. So, the last question for you. At certain times, we're still not in the phase of surety. At 21 or 22, the age comes where you doubt yourself a lot about your career decisions, how to keep calm and come at the right decision, because your next 40 to 50 years are on the basis of the decisions you take now.
Thank you, Krishan. It could be an overwhelming moment for many people. First thing is spend time exploring what kind of career you want to choose for yourself at the age of 20, 21 when you're actually crafting. And another important aspect is even if you start with one kind of career and 10 years, 15 years down the line, you feel that no, this is not what I was supposed to, I want to be doing for the rest of my life. You can always switch. Absolutely, you can always switch. Don't be afraid. Don't go with that frame that, oh, once I choose, that choice will stay with me for next 45, 50 years. Like when I was graduating from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, I had whatever opportunities. I went to a multinational company, I went to R&D, and I went and all that stuff. And then I felt an inspiration to go and join a monastery. And for over a decade, I was in the monastery. And then I moved out of the monastery and then said, okay, let's be a executive coach now. And I became one coach. And I started interacting with people in the corporate world and blah. So don't like limit yourself with, okay, what I'm doing right now is what I need to be doing all my life. That's not necessary. So in the first step, when you're actually making a decision, make a decision. Now, this is very important. You might be tempted to choose your career based on what you love. There are four things basically. Think about this. There are four things. Whoever has asked this question, sit down with a pen and paper today and just draw these four intersecting circles. Things that you're good at, things that you love doing, things that you can be paid for, things that the world needs. If you get something in the intersection of all these four, you will have a fantastic career all your life. However, if you don't, if you are somehow not getting all four coming together, make sure you choose your career based on what you're good at. The reason is the career path is going to be highly competitive. You might love playing guitar, but if you're not good at guitar, you might not be able to compete and earn your living with that. Yes, make a career. If you're good at coding, but you love guitar, make coding as your career and join a guitar class or open a NGO which teaches guitar for free to underprivileged people and make that as a vocation. Don't like cover up your passions, but steer them in the right direction. But always make sure this world is going to respect competency. Even average is not respected here, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's the situation. So when you're making a career choice, career decision, take help, go to a career counselor if that's the need be, understand what you're good at, what your core strengths are, and then see what are the various possibilities that can actually take you there. And still, even after you do that, don't think that this is where I'm stuck for next 40 years. No, you can always shift, you can always move with the global kind of economy that we live in, the global kind of trajectory that we all have these days. It's always possible to actually move and shift, and don't be afraid of making a change, always be flexible. So that's my word on you. Don't overstress it, but be careful of what you're good at and make your decision based on it. But don't plummet things that you love doing, but make them as a vocation and see how it actually moves forward, and be very flexible to adjust the route as you move forward.
Yeah. So I want to add something, Avatar, and thanks for sharing. These were really pearls of wisdom. That an average person actually changes about 5 different roles, and it's okay to change roles. And so what if you failed in the first thing? It's fine with it. You can shift to different field. I know a lot of people. I mean, we have Avatar here, a real example, who has an engineering background, and he's worn a different hat today. So there is this lady, this young girl I'm coaching. She's about 22, and she said she loves talking, she loves making conversations, and she loves inspiring. So she enters the HR field as an intern, and she has to do recruitment there. And she said, "No, I'm not enjoying, because I thought here I was a chance to inspire people." But HR in the beginning of your work will never give you that chance to suddenly show your coaching abilities. So that's exactly the suggestion what Avatar said is what we zeroed on. Said, okay, do both the things. Put that part of yours, which is the food for your soul, to maybe do coaching, and do carry on your HR, because that could be your dal and roti, and here's your pickle, and let your plate be full, and let your cup of happiness be full. So the Avatar's combination of both the things. Thank you for sharing. Good. But let not your passion die, and so what? Keep changing. That's what the world is for. And so what if you make a mistake? It's not a mistake, it's all a learning.
Thank you so much, Ashna ma'am and Avtar. So that really helped us a lot. I would like to conclude this session on this basis. Before concluding the session, I would once again repeat the steps to avail the e-certificate. One is attend a complete webinar. B, when you see thank you on the screen, there will appear a link to Google Attendance form. Please fill it, get your feedback emailed. C, fill the questionnaire you get on mail for your details. D, follow our page, and please be truthful for the same. If you did not follow our page and still replied in affirmative, we won't be able to issue an e-certificate to you. If all the above steps are followed, an e-certificate will be emailed to you, but please give us 24 to 48 hours for this thing. Thank you so much. You can get in touch with us on Instagram, Facebook. You can visit our website. You can connect and contact us via email and also calls. We're right there to help you with the right guidance. Thank you for attending. And once again, I thank you, Archana ma'am and Avtar Sur, for such insightful sessions and for such insightful information. Thank you, sir and ma'am. Thank you so much.
And I
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
like to applaud the whole of the team for doing such a beautiful opportunity for so many people. Really, really like to say a big thank you for opening up such a platform for them. Commendable work.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.